Yeah. Sorry, who was that? Virgil? Yeah, what's going on? Okay. All right. Um, okay. So did everyone do all right on their assemblies? Are you all feeling good about that? Does anyone have questions? Okay. You talking about like how to move your different parts around in the space? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm pulling this up on my screen. It's taking a second. All right. So, yeah, I'm recording. So, let me just double check actually. That's yeah. I've gotten had problems before because I forgot to hit the record button. So, all right. So if you left click with your mouse, you can actually drag a part around like this. If you want to rotate it, there's a couple of things you can do. So let's see. I gotta think about this for a second. So, um, it's not that. So I think let's see. I had this. I was just doing this, and for my brain is blanking right now. Okay. So click on your component. Go up here to move component, and you can rotate it. So if you open this, so you're gonna go move component. You're gonna click rotate, and then free drag, and you can just drag it around however you want, like this. Um, you also have this option. You can rotate it around something else. So, say you want to rotate it. I think you need to have like a. I don't usually use this one. I think you need to have like a line or something to rotate it around. Okay, so I guess I selected an edge right there. And now if I try to drag it, it'll move only in a circle around that edge that I selected. Does that make sense? So it'll stay the same distance from it, but it'll move around that. So that's useful, I guess, if you want it to move in relation to one other part, but you don't want it to like lose its relation. You don't want it to get further or closer to that part. You just want to move it to a different spot in relation to it, I guess. Um, yeah, let me see if I can do that real. I think I can. I'm just moving it. Okay, here I'll do this. Is that a little better? So I guess since we can only see this one now, so if you select the first option again, you can it's free drag here, and I have just standard drag, so that means I can just move it around. It's going to move around its own axis when you do this. So see how it's like moving all over the place, but it's not um it's rotating around its own axis. It's not actually like moving back and forth in space. Um So then collision detection, that one, um, yeah, so it'll give you this if, I guess if it's going to collide. I'm not sure exactly what that is. There's like really advanced stuff you can do here. So like you can make parts move so that, so that they won't like run into another part, or so that they won't, um, okay, now I guess it's moved back to free drag. But anyway, that's kind of more complicated stuff, so we won't go too deep into that right now. But the other thing you can do again is move it about an entity. So say you want to move it like around a um, specific entity, you can move it like this. It's making noises because it's running into this thing here. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah. Yeah. So if you don't want to like if you don't want to have any restrictions, like if you just want to move the part around, don't go into here, just left click on it and you can move it wherever you want pretty much. That's just if you want to like rotate it, or face it the other way, or if you want to move it in relation to another object is when you would go into this move component. Um, so, all right. Any other questions? So as far as I know, labs are still proceeding as they have been. So obviously, if you're gonna come on campus, you need to check in when you get here. Um, so you'll go to one of the buildings that has check-in. The one I always do is building 17. Um, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure where else they actually do it. I always go to building 17 because I think that might be the only one after hours. But um, so like after 3:30 p.m. So make sure you check in there and wear a mask when you're on campus. Obviously, make sure you stay 6 feet away from anybody else. But otherwise, labs are still open as far as I know, and if anything changes in regard to that, we'll definitely keep you all posted. But as far as I know right now, it's still the same as it's been. So, yeah. hmm Yeah, absolutely. I've done that. I've done that with other students too. So if any of you, aren't able to come in for whatever reason, you can always message me on Discord during my lab hours. I'm always in front of the computer here, so I should see it right away. And we can you can share your screen with me. I can share my screen with you, whatever. Um, so that's always an option. Yeah, thanks. I am, and it's a slow improvement, but I'm definitely feeling better. I'm pretty much back to normal, so yeah. All right. Any other questions about anything that we've covered? All right. So this week I want to go over something we haven't touched on at all yet. So in chapter 8, uh we kind of skipped over this and I'm coming back to it now. But at the beginning of chapter 8, uh excuse me. Uh it's about part configurations. So basically what this covers is how to do like a cutaway view of a part, or like um, how to take out a section. So like if you wanted to, I don't know, you know, some of you are probably familiar with like mechanical drawings where they do a cutaway view of something so you can see the inside. So like if there's a detail inside of a part that you want to be able to show in a drawing, you can, for the sake of the drawing, cut away a section so that that part is visible. And this kind of covers how to do that a little bit. So let's just get started on that. So we're kind of backing up from assemblies a little bit here. This is um, just going to be a single part again. Oops. I need to close out of my assembly here. This has been kind of buggy since I don't want to say that. Yeah, this has been giving me bugs a little bit since it updated, so. Alright. So we're going to do a new part. Come on. Okay. And is everyone on chapter 8, page 8-2? Alright. I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to start a new sketch on the front plane. And let's see. We're just going to sketch this profile using the line tool on page 8-3. So the origin is going to be that lower left corner. Let's see, and it looks like they want us to make this line in 2 sections here, so I'm actually going to zoom out a little. Oops. Alright, so then this is going to come down and it's going to be level with that first section of line that we made there. And then we're going to go straight down. Oh, maybe they didn't want 2 sections. I think that's just yeah, that's just the drawing. So scratch that. That first line is just going to be 1 section. We'll go back and fix that. That dotted line box around it is a little confusing, but alright. So, and you'll notice as I'm sketching this, I'm kind of being careful to line things up. So like I want to make this level with the origin here. I also want to make it straight up and down. I'm going to go back and mute with the origin. Alright, and then we're going to click OK. We're actually going to delete this because we just want it to be 1 line. You can grab that end point and just drag it up so that it meets that other point. Alright. And then we'll go ahead and dimension this. I did the thing again, you guys. I forgot to change my units. Alright. So we're in inches here. So this is going to be 4. This is going to be 2. Oh, one thing actually, let's do this real quick. So, oops, it's supposed to be 0.5. But it's talking about ordinate dimensions. So you'll see in that box on the right side of page 8-3, it's talking about dimensioning everything off of one point. So instead of saying like from here to here is 4, you're saying that the origin is your 0, right? And everything is dimensioned in relation to that 0 point. So if you look at that drawing right there, you can see how it looks. Everything is just a number at each point, and it's implied that that number represents the distance from the point that um, it's at to the 0 point. Um, so let's go ahead and do that. Um, we're going to go to Smart Dimension. We're going to click the down arrow here, and we're going to click Ordinate Dimension. So then we click at the vertex that we want our 0 point to be. So we're going to make that the origin. We're going to click that. And then we'll click this point. I think I did that wrong. Yeah, so if you go to Smart Dimension in the upper left corner, can everyone still see my screen? I know I made it bigger, so I'm kind of... Yeah, so I clicked on the origin. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go, because I don't think I did it right. So let's... You got it? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to delete all my dimensions and start over with this. So we're going to do ordinate dimension right here. Does everyone see that? We're going to go ahead and click on that. And then we want to click, let's see, make sure I do this right. And so click add a vertex to determine the 0 dimension. Then click the next entity to create the next dimension. So that's my 0. All right. So then anywhere else I click is going to dimension off of that 0. So let's see. It's telling me I can't create a dimension from that. So I'm not sure why. Okay. Yeah, so it's the same as when you just do a regular smart dimension. You're going to have to click the point you want to dimension, and then you have to click again to release the number to kind of drop the dimension number where you want it, basically. So like this 0, so I had to click a second time to put that 0 there. So this is going to be 1. Oops. Um, yeah, so horizontal ordinate dimensions are going to be dimensions on your horizontal axis, right? And then vertical are going to be all the dimensions on your vertical axis. So, mm-hmm. Sorry, you cut out. It's just giving you a line. Okay, interesting. So you just did a single click at the origin, and then when you moved your mouse away. So what you need to do a single click at the origin and then move your mouse away, and it should drag the 0 with you. And then you can click out here, and it'll drop the 0 there. Is that working? Okay. Well, that first dimension should just be a 0 because that's your 0 point on your drawing. So that first one is going to be a 0, and then each subsequent place that you click, it's going to tell you how far from your 0 point you are. So like I clicked up here and I got 4. And then in order to dimension your drawing, you're going to go ahead and click those again and change them. So like that one's supposed to be a 4, so I'm going to leave it. But let's click over here. So this one is supposed to be 4. Oh, I think I got to do the. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, yeah, I see what's going on. So when you exit your dimension tool and then you go back in, it's going to put a 0 wherever you click. So like I left and I came back. Now it's going to put a 0 here. So what you need to do is you need to again click here to make that your 0. And then you're going to click whatever you want to dimension from that point, and it'll put that one in for you. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so you're going to end up with a whole bunch of zeros. And I think there's a better way to do this. I'm going to play around with it. But so you don't have like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all in the same spot, but okay. Huh. Oops. Yeah, 'cause I'm that wasn't quite what I wanted. Yeah, I missed this the first time through this exercise, so I'm actually having to figure it out again myself, but all right. So it's telling me this is underdefined. Let's see. It might have something to do with all my zeros here. So I think what you want to do is actually just do all of your vertical ones at the same time and then do all your horizontal ones at the same time so they're all going off the same uh, zero. But I started out wrong there a little bit. So I'm going to... Alright. I'll go ahead and do my vertical ones here. Okay. Still telling me this is underdefined. Is everyone else having success here? Anyone stuck? Yeah. Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. Um. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here too. So. Mhm. Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe that's what's missing. Huh. Forgot those two. Maybe if I make them collinear. No, that's overdefined. No. It won't let me click horizontal, so. Mhm. Oh shoot. All right. Um. Those are for these two lines. I dimensioned both of them instead of adding a relation, so. Okay. Mhm. It's making it overdefined if I make them equal. Yeah, for whatever reason. Okay, I made them collinear, now it's fully defined, so let's just go with that. It's kind of a weird one. I don't know why it's working differently for everyone, but um okay, so let's continue on. So we're going to go ahead and extrude this one. It's going to be blind, and it's going to be 6 inches. And we want it going backwards from the plane. So we're going to switch the direction there real quick. So you should have your sketch on the front like this. If not, then click this button and it'll flip it around for you. And then click OK. Oh, my lights just turned off. Alright, I'm going to go turn the lights on real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Alright. So, next thing is we're going to make pockets on the front of this thing. So, we want to make a sketch on this front face here. So you're going to click that. We can go ahead and, oops, not that. Click the face, and then we're going to go normal to that face. And then we're going to go sketch, and it's going to show your origin right here. You're going to I think you're going to make a center line going straight across, starting at the origin. And that's going to be horizontal. Alright. So, let's see. So let's just make 3 rectangles. You can also use the linear pattern tool to do this. But we're just going to start like this. Oops. I want that one to be, we want them all to kind of be at the same level, and then we're going to dimension them so they're all the same. But we're going to round the corners. So we're going to okay. Okay, yeah, I see. Kind of. It's outside of my window here now. I gotta move it around a little. There you go. How's that? Mhm. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna use the regular smart dimension tool to dimension these. So from that center line to the top of this one, it's gonna be 1 inch. And then the total distance from top to bottom of this rectangle is gonna be 2 inches. from that outside edge. It would be 0.625. Let's see, and this is going to be 1.25. Alright, and then we can add some relations to actually make it so we don't need to dimension everything. It also suggests, like I said, using a linear sketch pattern, but I'm just going to do this. We're going to make those collinear. And then we're going to select, oops. I'm going to select the bottom 3 lines and do the same thing. Alright, and that should be fully defined. Now, I'm not sure I made the radius the right, or these corners the right radius. It's supposed to be 0.08, so let's go ahead and change that. And then we're just going to do an extruded cut for those pockets. So it's going to be blind. It's going to be 0.5 inches. And turn it sideways and make sure they're going in the right direction. And click OK. Alright, and then we're going to use the hole wizard to add a counter bore here. So it's going to be on this face here. I think we need to select that before we got ahead of myself there. So we're going to go here. I'm going to go sketch. Oops, I don't think we want to. Alright, so this first one is the counter bore hole. So we want to select that one. And then once we select that, we're going to select blind down here for end condition. We're going to make it 0.625 inches. So that's the depth of the counter bore itself. Sorry, that's the, let's see. That's the wrong one. I was looking in the wrong spot here. So, let's see, make sure I'm doing the right thing. So we want 0.625 for the width, I think I'm missing something here. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. So you got to click that little show custom sizing box under fit. It's easy to miss, I guess. So then the first field there is going to be 0.625. And that's the diameter of your actual hole. The diameter of the counter bore is going to be 0.875. And then we're going to have 0.25 for the depth of the counter bore. And the angle at the end of the hole is going to be 118 degrees. I guess that's what it defaults to. So then for end condition, we want blind. Right here we want 0.625. This looks a little different from what I've got on my screen here, so just trying to figure out. They want near side countersink. We're on page 8-5. So if you start number 5 there, it says adding a counter bore from the hole wizard. So okay. So yeah, you're gonna set those values there. They give them all to you. So it says we want the near side countersink box unchecked. All right, well, let's click OK. All right, so we placed that on this face here. So we got to dimension where we put that hole. So we're just going to add those dimensions real quick. It's going to be 1 inch up and 1 inch in from the edge. And then that sketch 5 should be fully defined for your countersink. When you exit the sketch, you'll see your hole there. Is everyone with me? Alright, what's going on? Okay. Alright, fair enough. You can always play around with it later, too. I mean, you guys, if you ever, if you're stuck on something during a lecture, I mean, obviously always feel free to speak up and ask questions, but if you get stuck on something and you just want to keep up and you don't want to slow everybody down, I know that's totally understandable. Just do whatever works and just keep going. You can always go back later and play with it. You're not getting graded on the exercise we do in class, so perfection is not the end game here. We're just trying to figure it out as we go, so that's totally fine. All right, so the big point of this, I'm just trying to make this shape so that we can get to the part where we create the cutaway section, since that's something that we haven't done before. So I'm going to go through the whole exercise and you can follow along with me as best you can. It's obviously good practice to get familiar, get more familiar with everything. But the important part is going to be that cutaway section on page 8-9. So once we get there, if you're stuck, you don't have to actually make all the holes here or do all the extruded cuts or anything like that. But I do want you to make sure that you're able to follow along with me when I get to that part. So, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, you can download everything in this whole book. The reason I like to go through the exercises again is because, it's good for practice. So, if you want to open that part from your download, if you have that, I don't think everyone has it, but if you want to just do that and play around with it, that's totally fine too. Again, the point here is that you're learning from what we're going over in class. So it's not about keeping up with me or having your part look perfect. That's that's what homework assignments are for. So just try and follow along as best you can, and hopefully you're picking something up from what I'm talking about. And of course, as always, this will be posted online later too. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and pattern this counter bore we just made. So we're gonna go insert linear pattern. Let's see. So I think we just want this. And we're going to select the bottom edge of this plane for the direction. Spacing is going to be 2 inches. So we're going to put that right here. And then for number of instances just below, we're going to put in 3. We're not doing anything for direction 2. You can go ahead and close that. Features and faces that we want to pattern. We're going to go up here to our menu. Can everyone see where I am here? You're going to go hit the little drop down here under next to part 2, and you're going to see this counter bore at the bottom. You're going to click that for what you want to pattern. Now, it made it go the wrong direction, so obviously these two counter bores aren't going to be on the part, so we want to switch that direction. And do that right here. So, and then it should pattern them across the front of our face here. It looks like they're spaced too far apart. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Let me make sure I have everything the same as in the book. So we have 3 instances. It might just be the angle. No, it really does look like they're too far apart. So I might have misdimensioned something at some point. But definitely says they want 2 inches apart. Let's just click OK. Alright. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess they're fine. They're evenly spaced with the whole thing, so. Now we're going to mirror them onto the back side of this part here. So, let's see. We're going to, first we have to create a mirror plane to mirror these holes. So we're going to go to, let's see. We're going to go to reference geometry, which is in features here. So we're going to go over here to reference geometry, hit the down arrow, and we're going to insert a plane. Alright. And then we're going to use, as the first reference, we're going to use the right plane. So again, go in your menu here and you can just click right plane. And then, let's see. They want offset distance. They want it to be 2 inches. And if you need to, you can use the flip option to put it in the center of this part. So, If I were to flip it, it's back here. If yours is showing up back here, just check that flip offset box and it should jump to the middle here of your part. So we're going to hit OK. Now we have a plane in the middle there. And then we can use that plane to mirror these counterbore holes. So they'll be mirrored around this plane, so they'll show up on the back of that part there. So we're going to go mirror. Where's mirror? There's mirror. So the mirror face that we want to use is, or the mirror plane is plane 4, that one we just created. The features to mirror, again, we're going to go to this drop down over here on the left, and we're going to click that counterbore, and it should show up on the back here. It should do all 3 though. So you want to click the counterbore, and then you want to also click the linear pattern. And click OK. And you should have 3 holes on the back of your part here. Anyone have any questions so far? My lights just turned off again, so I'm going to turn them back on. You're still on the pattern step and not on the mirror step? Okay. Alright. 1 second. Let me get back to my desk here. That stupid light timer lasts like 15 minutes and then it turns off and it drives me nuts. Alright. So the first thing you have to do is you have to select an edge for the direction of your pattern. So let's just go back to that real quick. So it's step 6 on page 8-6. We're going to do linear pattern here. So make sure you select that first option, linear pattern. And then the direction is going to be that bottom edge there. And that should be all you need. You should just click that bottom edge. You can enter your distance and your number of instances, and then for the feature that you want to pattern, right here it's showing mirror 1. I'm not sure why, but I already did it. But what you would want in that box is this counterbore here. So. Okay. Yeah, it's just this bottom one. It's a little easy to miss there, so cool. All right. So then the book says rotate the model around to verify the result of the mirror. So if you look at the back, you'll see it's mirrored back here. We're going to create some blind holes on the top face of this part. So we're going to click that top face. We're going to go normal to, yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to insert a sketch on that top face. So we're going to draw 4 circles here. Try and get them lined up so I don't have to add relations later. All right. So we're going to make them all equal. Oops. What do you mean by straight out? So if they're going in the wrong direction, there's that, let's see. There's that little pair of arrows going like this next to under direction 1. Try clicking that. Oh, okay. That might be because so for your direction, it said select edge one. Um, if for some reason you clicked a vertical edge instead of the horizontal edge, it might have you might have selected it by mistake. It's hard to tell after you do it. So just make sure, just go in there, delete whatever's in that box, and then click that bottom horizontal edge to make sure you've got the right one. Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Yeah. No, so for the direction, you're not selecting anything on your counterbore here. You're selecting this bottom edge right here because that's the direction you want your pattern to go. You want it to go across. Yeah, so you want it to go like across the edge of the block, like in a straight line. And that's, yeah, cool. All right. Oops. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to this top sketch for a second here. So we're dimensioning these circles. We're going to make this distance. Let's see, that's going to be 5. No worries. Um, so I mirrored them from the front ones. Yeah, so you'll have to create a plane if you use reference geometry and create a plane in the middle of your part, and then you mirror them around that plane. It's yeah, okay. Nice. All right, I'm just getting this top sketch defined here. Um, So once you have those 4 circles on top there, we're going to do an extruded cut to make 4 holes there. Um, and we want them to be an inch deep. We don't want them to go all the way through. So we're going to go extruded cut. Direction is blind. Depth is going to be 1 inch. And you should see them going down about this far here. Click OK. Alright, so I'm not sure where everyone's at right now. If you don't have this quite finished, that's totally fine. Go ahead and flip to page 8-9, and we're going to do the cutaway section. So we're going to go to the configuration tab in our feature manager tree. So on the left here, does everyone see where my mouse is? On that little tab, there's like 2 little boxes on a stick there. Alright, so I'm going to click that. And we're going to add a configuration. So let's see. Right click on our part, add configuration. And then it probably wants us to name it something. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to name it cutaway view. And then I guess that's all we put in there. We're going to click OK. So it says there's a few things you can do here. You can enter a comment to reference the changes that you made in this configuration. So we know it's just cutaway view. So, but if you wanted to like further clarify what you did, say like added cutaway view so that depth of blind holes was visible, or something, you put that in there. So we're going to click OK here. We're not going to bother with the comment for now. And we're going to sketch the profile for a cut. So it looks like they want the top face. We're going to zoom to that. And then we're going to do a new sketch. So we're going to use a corner rectangle. Oops. Now we're going to go kind of like this. And then we've got to dimension that, as always. Is everyone with me? Anyone stuck? Okay. So we made our new configuration in the configuration manager tree, and it's this cutaway view. So once you've created that, you're in that configuration, and you're just gonna go ahead and start a new sketch on that top face where we made the 4 holes. So if you don't have those 4 holes, it's fine. Just go ahead and start a sketch, click that top face, and that's gonna be your sketch plane for this one. And then we're just going to sketch a corner rectangle. Does that help? All right. Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to go ahead and dimension this rectangle we just drew. So this is 1.5, 2.75, so from the edge of our part to the bottom of that rectangle is going to be 0.25. And then this side of the rectangle here is going to be 3.25. All right. So that should be fully defined once you've added those dimensions. And so we're going to create our section cut here. So it's basically, we're just doing a new sketch and an extruded cut, and we're cutting away part of the drawing here. But since we're doing it in a configuration, we're not actually removing that chunk of the drawing. We're only removing it in this configuration. Does that kind of make sense? So it's not, we're not changing the part itself. We're creating a new configuration of the part, and we're changing that. So you can go back to your original part, and it's all still going to be there, even though you cut this section away in this configuration. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So we're going to go to Features. We're going to do an extruded cut. And our, let's see, direction is going to be through all. And then you should be able to look at this, and it should show this whole section is going to be cut away. And then click OK. And you'll have this cutaway section view, so you can see the depth of your blind hole here. You can see from this angle, you can see through your part. You can see these 3 holes here. You can see more of the details of the part in this configuration versus if you didn't cut that section away, it would be hard to tell just by looking at it. Or like if you wanted to create a mechanical drawing for this that you were going to print out and hand to somebody, then they could see all the details here in this configuration. So does that make sense? Cool. All right. Anyone have any questions so far? No questions? All right. So if you want to go back to your other configuration here, if you want to see the whole part, if you flip to page 812, you can, in step 14, it kind of talks about that. So you can double click on this configuration and it'll show you the original part. So you can just kind of toggle back and forth between them as needed. You can make other configurations too. So like if you go in here and you do add configuration and then you do like other configuration, and then you can go in there and you can do other stuff. You can like cut away another section or whatever you want to do. So let's see. I think that's going to be it. The rest of this exercise is just making more configurations. It's only another 2 pages. So you can suppress certain features. If you flip over to 814, it looks like they made a configuration where they got rid of all the holes in the these slot thingies here. So it's just the original solid block. So if you wanted to see that configuration, it's like a, if a machinist was making this, it would be like a kind of an intermediate, what do you call it? What's the word? Stage of making the part. So like before it's done, it's going to look like this. You're going to have this block and then you're going to cut those slots if you wanted to do that on a drawing. So anyway, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this. Let's see. So I think that's going to be it, unless anyone has any questions right now. I'm going to give you guys kind of an easy, short lecture today. If, I don't know, if you're into that. All right. So I have not set up a lab for this week. I was thinking I'd just give you the assignment, make a drawing with a configuration. Let's move this over here. So I'm thinking about what I should do here. So here's what I'm thinking. I can give you guys no homework this week, or I can give you an assignment this week and I can give you next week off because it's Thanksgiving. It's up to you guys. What do you think? What does your workload look like otherwise? Do you want... Sure, that works. So I'll give you 2 weeks. That way you can take this week off if you want and do it next week, or you can do it this week and take next week. Good idea. All right, so let's see. I gotta add an assignment here. What did you just do? Lab 5. So we're going to call this one lab. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can do cutaways. You can, I mean, the point of this is really the configurations. Um, so what I'm going to have you guys do this week is you're going to design a part and then you're going to give it 3 different configurations. So you're going to go in here. You can do a cutaway view. You can do another configuration where you suppress some features or you hide those features. Real quick, let's just try that. So if you're in this configuration here, uh, so you can go in here. I think it's in here. And you can hide things like this. So I just hid the whole thing because that's the main part of the part. But if you wanted to like hide, well, let's figure out one that we can hide without making everything weird. So let's hide those. Why is this? It's been acting buggy on me. I'm telling you guys, this is weird. Since they updated it, it's been giving me weird problems. Anyway, you can where's another way I can do this? My little menu over here is gone. Let me go. Oops. Edit sketch. That's not it. My lights turned off again. So, alright. Here we go. It's not showing everything in my my tree here. But shoot. I want to show you guys that, but I'm like having trouble getting to it. Yeah, see, anything I try to hide, it like the whole thing disappears. I don't know why it's doing that. But let me turn my light on and then I'll just go to where it is in the book and show you. Alright, where were we? So, alright, so on page 814, we're going to go, actually, let's go back a little bit. So on page 813, let's just use that configuration other, make sure we're in there. They called it machine features suppressed, but we're just going to use what I have there. So we added that. So we're going to hold the control key and select the following cut features from the tree. So we're going to do cut extrude 1, counter bore, linear pattern, the mirror, and cut extrude 2. So can you guys all see what I have selected here? And then there's going to be, let's see. Alright, so you're going to get this little pop-up box. I had to play around a little to make it show up. So once you release the control key, you'll see that. I just lost it again. Okay, and then see this little down arrow and it says suppress? So you can suppress those features and you'll have this block here. I guess I didn't I don't know if they selected the one that, oh, you know what, I think they created their second configuration off of the original part, whereas I created my second configuration off of the first one. So it still has this feature of that first configuration, this cutaway. That's why that's showing up on mine and not in the book. But does that make sense? To suppress those, and then once you suppress them, they'll be grayed out. And then to unsuppress, you just click it and you click the little up arrow and it'll show up again. Does everyone see that? Let's suppress this too. There we go. So you can do, you can do all kinds of things in your configurations. You can basically do anything you would do in a part, but instead of doing it to the whole file, you're just going to have like this separate configuration of that part in your file. So instead of drawing this part like 6 different times and saving it as 6 different things, you've just got one part file. It's got your part in there, and it's got all your different configurations that you want all in one place in your tree here. So does that make sense? Everyone with me? Alright, I'm trying to create this lab here. Give me 1 second. I can also just post this afterward. That way you guys don't have to sit here while I do it. And I'll post it. If anyone has questions, go ahead and message me. I'll be available all tonight. So, and I know a couple of people wanted to talk to me after. Let's see, Mike, Virgil, I think. And was there someone else? All right. So I guess before we close, does anyone have any other questions about the assignment or what we just went over? Yeah, so I'm gonna have you do 3 configurations. So you're gonna have your part here, and the original part is always configuration 1. Um, so if we go to this, it's just gonna be that original thing we drew. That's the cutaway view. So default is the original one, and then you're gonna create 2 more. So you can do a cutaway view. You can suppress some things. You can add features to the part, so you can take your default part and you can say like configuration 1 is going to be, I'm going to add some more holes in it, or I'm going to make another sketch and like add another extrusion to this part or whatever, you know. So you can do whatever you want, but I just want you to do a couple of different configurations. This should be a pretty easy one because you're basically just sketching parts and then making different iterations of that same part. I just want you to, get familiar with using this configurations menu here. I would prefer if you created your own part from scratch just for the practice. Let's see. How about uh good question. I guess, yeah, if you want to use a part that was already created, if it's something out of the book or something you download or whatever, you can do that. But If so, do a fourth configuration. How does that sound? So if you're going to use a pre-made part, do 4 configurations instead of 3. Hmm. Yeah. And your original part also, if you're concerned about, making it it doesn't need to be super complicated. Like, again, I don't want to just see like a cube, but it doesn't have to be something super fancy. What I want to see is that like you're trying different things and experimenting in the configurations. So, if your original part is just like really simple, I want to see that your configurations that you made are a little more complicated. So, like, you did a couple of things, or you suppressed some stuff and you did a cutaway, or, So, I mean, I guess I'm not going to grade it super harshly based on how complex it is. Again, what I'm really looking for is everything needs to be fully defined. Um, and the stuff I've been kind of harping on all quarter, like just make sure it's fully defined, make sure that, it works. Make sure that like all the pieces of your part have some intention behind them. You don't have like extraneous lines hanging out or like weird stuff that isn't part of your part. Like we talked about. I'll just do a quick sketch here. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I was just gonna. All right. So like we talked about before, if you draw a shape and you have like some random figure here, say you like overlap this, um you're going to have to delete that extra piece of line there because it's not doing anything, right? So stuff like that. Make sure that it's fully defined, but also make sure it's clean and tidy. Make sure you don't have weird stuff hanging out. Um so like there's nothing wrong with this shape in itself, but it's not going to be an enclosed shape. You've got to do a trim there so that it is. I'm not sure what that did, but anyway, yeah, see my 2 points aren't meeting up. So stuff like that. Make sure that everything is correct, basically. You know what to do. Um, does that make sense to everyone? More or less? A little bit? Okay. All right, cool. And I mean, next week is Thanksgiving. Everyone's busy. Apparently things are getting locked down again. I'm going to take it easy. Like, you guys don't need to go nuts this week. We just did midterms. We just kind of dove into assemblies. There's kind of a lot. So, I don't want to stress you out too much. I know you have other classes too, and I don't want to make it like, you know, my class is the only one, and you have all the time in the world to do this, because I know how that works. It doesn't really. Um, okay. So I guess I'm gonna call it for now. I'm not. I'm just trying to delete this sketch. All right, sounds good. And then I know there were a couple other people that wanted to talk to me too. So if you want to jump in the conference room, in my conference room as well, um, or hang around and I'll just message you after, whatever works for you. Uh, yeah, and otherwise I'll see you all. Let's see. Let's close this thing. I'll see you all next week.